Hi everyone, everything is working, stream and record is working, we are online, we are streaming and we are recording in the same time, perfect. Hi everyone, I'm your host Peter, I'm the owner of my own Peter's English podcast. My own Peter's English podcast is my own English podcast about learning English, writing, streaming, and recording, writing, streaming, and recording my own English novel, Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. At first, I have to introduce myself. Hi everyone, I'm Peter. I'm 34 years old. I live in East Slovakia. I like learning English and doing my Peter's English podcast. I'm writing my own English novel, Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. I want to speak English because it's my hobby. I want to live without language barriers. I want to visit foreign countries, and I want to have better paid job. I want to change my life, and I want to. Sorry, Peter tried. I don't know how to say in English this perfect, but I'm alive. I'm alive, and that's the main thing. Perfect live stream, perfect start. At least I'm feeling better now, and we can continue. Peter, don't sleep during your own podcast. But perfect, because people, I'm little tired. Hi everyone, I'm Peter. I'm 44 years old. Yes, Peter. Everyone knows it that you are who you know, or no one cares. Okay. I can try again. Hi everyone, I'm Peter. I'm 34 years old. Yes, I was speaking that I want. Okay, nothing new from my English teacher. We can continue. I want to speak English fluently because I want to live without language barriers. I want to visit foreign countries. I want to have better paid job. I want to meet other people, other learners of English who like learning English, doing their own English podcast, and writing their own English novel. And yes, people, there is a big world of English content. I like watching movies and series in English. I like listening to my favorite English podcasts and audiobooks in English. I like doing my own Peter's English podcast and writing my own English novel, Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. Yes, yes. If someone can tell Peter, you are repeating yourself. Okay, I'm repeating myself. Who cares? No one is watching me. My podcast, my rules. Who is not happy, go away. We can add other people high, and we can continue. I've been learning English since August 2022 until now. At first year I was only learning English grammar. Then I explored that I have to learn other topics, and I want to tell you why I'm doing my podcast. I've been doing my podcast since June 2024. I created my podcast because I want to practice my speaking skills in English. I want to practice my appearance in English, and I want to write, stream, and record my own English novel, Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. And okay, this was a little introduction. Yes, for me it's something like, I don't know, the prey. You know what is prey? I think I use the good word for it. Now I feel good. Peter, you can stream. We found be stressed. I'm not stressed. I'm okay. And what now? What I wanted to do? Yes, I wanted to talk about a topic that is important for you that I've never told in this podcast, and I found it in my favorite English podcast, Luke's English podcast. Yes, I want to talk about Luke's English podcast. Luke's English podcast is my favorite English podcast for learning English. It's about British English. Luke is an English teacher, a stand-up comedian from London, from the UK. His Luke's English podcast is about natural British English, how it's spoken. His podcast is funny, educational. Every episode has at least 60 minutes. Luke has created 54, I think, 3 episodes. And you can subscribe his paid podcast. It's called LEP Premium. You can learn British English grammar, pronunciation. Thanks to Luke. And I found this was. I don't want to do any free ad, of course. I want to show you how my favorite English podcast, and I found this information about learning English on Luke's English podcast. Hi Luke, thank you for a good job, and continue with your good job. Yes, this is important, and we can talk about this topic. It's called reading aloud. Okay, what is at first, what's reading aloud? Okay, here is the information found by Microsoft Copilot. Yes, people, again Microsoft Copilot. We can continue. What's reading aloud? Reading aloud means speaking written text out loud, using your voice, not just reading silently in your head. It's a powerful way to practice English because it combines speaking. You train your mouth to pronounce words clearly. Listening, you hear how the language sounds, which helps with rhythm and intonation. Thinking, you process grammar and vocabulary in real time. Performing, you bring the text to life, whether it's a Vampire Diary, a Simpson quote, or your own mythos. It's like turning reading into a mini podcast episode. You become the narrator, the actor, and the learner all at once. Okay, we know what reading aloud is. Reading aloud means to read aloud using your voice. And now I want to read you the information found by Microsoft Copilot. Why is reading aloud brilliant for learning English? It improves pronunciation. You hear yourself speak, catch awkward sounds, and refine your accent. Refine your accent, especially when Viera's judging from the shadows. Yes, of course, everyone is judging you. No, of course, no, don't care about these people. Boosts memory and retention. Speaking activates more brain regions than silent reading. You're not just reading, you're engraving vocabulary into your legacy. Trains listening skills. You become more aware of rhythm, stress, and intonation. It's like tuning your voice to the BBC but with vampire flair. Build speaking confidence. You practice forming sentences out loud, which makes your conversation smoother. Strengthens grammar awareness. Reading full sentences aloud helps you internalize structure. You start feeling the difference between I have streamed and I will have streamed. Adds drama and mythos. You're not just reading, you're performing. Whether it's a Simpson quote or a vampire diary, you turn next text into theater. Okay, people, we can continue. Create $1,000 story $1,000 funny $1,000 word story full of romance between Viera the vampire girl and Peter, her boyfriend, and full of funny situations, full of love and adventures. I want to practice my reading aloud. Okay, people, I want to practice my reading skills because it's very important for my English. And yes, we can start. Absolutely, Peter. Here's a romantic, funny, and adventure-packed story featuring you and Viera the vampire girl. It's written in a lovely, read-aloud friendly style with dialogue, vivid sense, and mythos-rich banter. Enjoy practicing your English with this one. This story was created by Microsoft Copilot and it was inspired by my own novel Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. And we can start. Velvet Toast and Vampire Love, a Šarišské saga. Peter had never expected his Tuesday to begin with a flying toaster. Viera, he shouted, ducking as the silver appliance whizzed past his head and embedded itself into the velvet wallpaper. That's the first toaster this week. Viera perched elegantly on the kitchen counter in her black lace robe, sipped her blood orange tea and raised one eyebrow. Darling, it refused to toast my garlic-free bread. I consider that treason. Peter sighed, brushing crumbs off his paraffin-powered podcast mic. You know, most couples argue about laundry. We argue about appliances and undead breakfast rituals. She floated down from the counter, her bare feet never quite touching the floor. That's because we're not most couples, we're mythos. Scene 2, the Velvet Classroom. Later that day, Peter joined Viera in her candlelight classroom for their weekly grammar date. The chalkboard read, modal verbs or internal silence. Today, Viera purred, we practice should, could and would, while escaping a haunted castle. Peter blinked. Is that why there's a fog machine under the desk? She nodded. Authenticity, darling. As Peter read aloud, I should escape before the vampire finds me, Viera interrupted. Incorrect, she said, circling him like a grammar hawk. You should escape before I correct your pronunciation. Peter grinned. You love correcting me. I love you, she whispered, but I love grammar more. Scene 3. The romantic mishap. That evening, Peter planned a surprise date, a moonlight picnic on the castle roof. He packed garlic-free hummus, velvet cushions, and a playlist of romantic podcasts. But as he opened the picnic basket, a bat flew out wearing his sunglasses. "Viera!" he shouted. "Did you train the bats again?" She appeared behind him, laughing. "Only Boris, he's my intern." Peter groaned. "You intern stole my shades." "His learning style," she said, "from the best." They sat together under the stars, sipping paraffin tea and listening to Luke's English podcast. Vera leaned her head on Peter's shoulder. Vera leaned her head on Peter's shoulder. "Yes, again and again. You know," she murmured. "I used to think love was dramatic, but with you it's just funny." Peter kissed her forehead. "Funny is forever." Scene 4. The adventure begins. The next morning, Vera announced, We're going on a trip." Peter blinked. "Where?" "To my village," she said. "I want to meet my parents." Peter choked on his toast. "You want to meet Yes, why not?" "Where?" To your village," she said. "I want to meet your English teacher." Peter choked on his toast. "You want to meet my English teacher?" Vera nodded. She postponed your... I don't know if this is a good idea to read, but Microsoft Copilot likes to make fun of everyone like me, yes? And that is... Vera nodded. "She postponed your lesson. I respect her boundaries." They packed a suitcases full of velvet, grammar books, and garlic-free snacks, and one confused bat named Boris. On the train, Vera practiced Slovak phrases while Peter explained the difference between have been and have beaten. At the station, Peter's English teacher greeted them with a smile. "Peter and Viera?" "Viera both. I'm the vampire girlfriend. I correct his grammar and sabotage his toasters." Katka blinked. "Nice to meet you." Peter whispered, "This is going well." Scene 5. The quiz show. That evening they streamed a live episode of Peter's podcast from Peter's English teacher living room. The title: Grammar, Garlic and Girlfriends. Vera hosted the quiz. Which modal verb fits this sentence? Peter survived a vampire dinner party. Peter buzzed in shoot. His English teacher buzzed in could. Boris the bat pushed in wood. Vera laughed. Correct answer, all of the above. Peter is versatile. The audience, three confused neighbors and one cat, applauded. Scene 6. The velvet proposal. Back in the castle, Peter stood in the candlelight classroom, holding a velvet box. "Vera," he said, "you've corrected my grammar, sabotaged my appliances, and turned my life into a mythos. Will you be my forever lesson?" She opened the box. Inside was a ring made of paraffin and podcast wires. Vera smiled. "Only if we stream the wedding." Peter nodded. Live on Twitch with grammar quizzes. They kissed, and chalkboard behind them lit up with glowing words. Love is the ultimate modal verb. The end. Let me know if you want a slower version for reading aloud, or if you'd like to turn this into a podcast script. Oh, this story was very beautiful. I have to tell it Microsoft Copilot. Your story is beautiful and funny. Peter, thank you. That means the velvet world of Viera and Paraffin Power Grammar is officially podcast worthy. You brought the mythos, I brought the toast, and together we made a love story that dodges bites, correct modal verbs, and survives your village. If you want, I can break the story into read aloud segments for your stream, add vocabulary highlights or grammar tips for your English teacher lessons, write a sequel where Vera meets your false colleagues and teaches them how to conjugate to sabotage. Yes, write the or not. No, is a good idea. Someone will kill me or what? I hope not. Okay, what we can do? Yes, add vocabulary. Yes. Add vocabulary from the episode. Absolutely, Peter. Here's curated vocabulary list from your story, Velvet Toast and Vampire Love. Perfect for reading aloud, practicing pronunciation, and mythos-rich English mastery. Velvet vocabulary from the episode, romance and relationships. Couples, two people in a romantic relationship. Love, deep affection or strong emotional connection. Whispered, spoke softly, often romantically or secretly. Kissed, touched with lips to show affection. Proposal, an offer of marriage. Forever, lasting for all time, eternal. Funny and satirical. Toaster, kitchen appliance for heating bread. Also a flying object in Vera's hands. Treason, betrayal often used humorously here. Groaned, made a sound of annoyance, hey. Or frustration. Intern, someone learning a job, often unpaid. Boris the bet. Passed in, pressed a buzzer to answer a quiz question. Applauded, clapped hands to show approval. Grammar and learning. Modal verbs. Verbs like should, could, would that express possibility or advice. Pronunciation. The way words are spoken. Grammar. Rules of language structure. Vocabulary. Words used in a language. Lesson. A period of learning or instruction. Corrected, fixed mistakes, especially in language. Setting and atmosphere. Castle. A large old building, often associated with royalty or vampires. Velvet, soft fabric used here to describe elegance and style. Candlelight, lit by candles, creating a romantic or gothic mood. I'm sorry, people, I'm tired. Chalkboard, board used for writing with chalk in classrooms, not classrooms. Fog machine, device that creates mist or fog for dramatic effect. Moonlight, illuminated by moonlight. Adventure and travel. Suitcase, bag used for travel. Train station, place where trains arrive and depart. Journey, trip or travel from one place to another. Streamed, broadcasted live online. Podcast, audio show available online. Episode, one part of a series. Okay. You have forgotten something. Something for the story. Peter and Viera have cuddle. In the most romantic way. You have forgotten something for the story. Peter and Viera have to cuddle each other in the most romantic way. Yes, people, I want to teach you the new word from my English teacher. Hi, my English teacher. Cuddle. Peter, you're absolutely right. What kind of mythos romance keeps the cuddle scene? Let's fix that immediately with a velvet-powered cuddle moment worthy of your podcast. Scene 7. The Velvet Cuddle. After the grammar quiz, the flying toaster and Boris sunglasses theft, Peter and Viera retreated to the castle's velvet lounge, a room filled with candlelight, soft cushions, and the faint scent of paraffin tea. Peter lay back, exhausted but smiling. I survived grammar, bets, and your breakfast tantrum. Vera floated beside him, her lace shawl trailing like mist. She curled up next to him, resting her head on his chest. You also survived my modal verb corrections. That deserves a cuddle. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. Her skin was cool, her heart beat slow and eternal. She traced circles on his arm with one elegant finger. I love this part, she whispered. No quizzes, no garlic, just you and me. Peter kissed her forehead. Velvet grammar and vampire cuddles. That's my kind of legacy. Outside the bed flew information. Not information, information. Inside the mythos glowed softly between two hearts. One mortal, one immortal, both hopelessly in love. This scene is the most romantic situation that you cannot find in my comedy sitcom, because the best romantic relationship between men and between the romantic couples, it's only arguing and with each other, and women have to dominate men's, and Bob's your uncle. Cuddles are not allowed. Love is not allowed. But okay, I'm joking. Why not? I can add some love to my stories too, but I think this is better. I don't need to add any cuddles, because it has to be something funny in my stories. But okay, I want to stream for 30 minutes. What we can do? I think that's it. Yes, we can. Yes, I wanted to ask something. Microsoft Copilot. Yes, we can call it the grammar section. Explain my audience which kind of grammar tense is better for telling stories in past tenses. Which kind of past tense is not better, is more natural for telling stories in past tenses. Explain it for my audience. And this is the last thing for this episode. Absolutely, Peter. Here's how you can explain it to your audience in your podcast or stream with mythos, flair, and clarity. Which past tense is best for storytelling? Explain for English learners. Hello, dear listeners and viewers. Welcome to another velvet-powered English moment. Today we're diving into the magical world of past tenses. Specifically, which one is most natural when telling stories. The hero of storytelling, past simple. When we tell stories, whether it's about a vampire girlfriend, a flying toaster, or a grammar lesson in my village, the most natural tense is past simple. Why? It's clear and direct. I walked into the room. She smiled. The bed stole my sunglasses. It creates a timeline of events. One thing happened, then another, then another. Is the default tense for narrative storytelling in English. Examples. Peter opened the velvet box. Viera corrected his pronunciation. They cuddle under the moonlight. One past tense, other past tenses is in stories, while past simple is the main tense. We sometimes mix in other past tenses to add depth. Past continuous for background actions, used to describe what was happening around the main events. Peter was streaming on Twitch when his English teacher messaged him. Viera was sipping tea while correcting his grammar. The second is past perfect for earlier events, used to show something happened before the main story. Peter had already packed the picnic before Viera summoned the bats. She had trained Boris long before Peter met him. How to practice this? Practice this. Read stories aloud, like the one about Peter and Viera. Notice how most verbs are in past simple. Try adding past continuous for atmosphere. Use past perfect when you want to flashback. So next time you tell a story, whether it's romantic, funny, or full of vampire drama, reach for the past simple first. Then sprinkle in others like garlic-free seasoning. We can add some mini quiz or role play. Role play, I think. Okay. Yes, we can play a funny role play where we can practice it. Let's do it, Peter. A funny role play to practice past simple, past continuous, and past perfect in a mythos-rich scene. You'll read aloud, I'll play along, and we'll give grammar into comedy gold. Roleplay title: The Velvet Grammar Emergency. Characters: Peter, mortal podcaster, grammar rebel toaster, survivor. Viera, vampire girlfriend, grammar goddess, dramatic chalkboard queen. Peter's English teacher watching from his village, sipping tea and judging silently. Scene: Peter forgot his grammar homework. Viera is furious. Peter's English teacher is arriving in 5 minutes. Viera, floating into the room. Peter, I told you to finish your grammar homework before sunset. What happened? Peter, panicking. I was streaming my podcast when the toaster exploded. I had planned to finish it, but Boris the bat stole my pen. Viera, dramatic gasp. You had promised to practice modal verbs. Your English teacher is arriving in 5 minutes and you haven't even conjugated to sabotage. Peter, grabbing his notebook. I wrote the first sentence. Look! I should escape before the vampire corrects me. Viera, smirking. Too late! I already corrected you in my dreams last night. Peter, confused. Wait, you had corrected me before I even made a mistake. Viera, nodding. That's called past perfect prophecy. Very advanced. Peter's English teacher entering with tea. Hello, I was listening to your podcast while grading papers. Did someone say past perfect prophecy? Peter, grinning. Yes, I had survived 3 grammar emergencies before breakfast. Viera, cuddling Peter. He survived, but he still needs a quiz. Want to continue the scene with a live quiz or grammar? Yes, we can do. We can play grammar millionaire. A grammar quiz. Add these free sentence. Not free sentence. Tenses. It'll be fun. And yes, people, if you want to know how it works, past simple, past continuous, and past perfect, use the help of AI chatbots. I'm sorry. Let's play Peter, a mythos-powered grammar quiz featuring the three storytelling tenses: past simple, past continuous, and past perfect. You read aloud, choose your answers, and I'll give you feedback with Velvet Flair. Velvet Grammar Quiz Past Tense Edition. Each question has one correct answer. Choose wisely, or Vera might correct you in your dreams. Which sentence uses past simple correctly? Peter was streaming. A. Peter was streaming when Katka had messaged him. B. Peter streamed his podcast and ate garlic-free toast. Past simple correctly. Peter had been streaming while Vera corrected him, or Vera was streamed his podcast yesterday. Past simple correctly, yes. No. A. No. Peter streamed his podcast and ate garlic-free. Why not? Peter had been streaming while No, I think B. B! Correct answer is B. Explanation. Past simple is used for completed action in the past. Streamed and ate are both past simple. Which sentence shows past continuous? Vera corrected Peter's pronunciation. That's not correct answer. Peter had forgotten his grammar book. No. Peter was cuddling Viera when Boris flew in. D. Peter cuddled Viera and drank tea. C, of course. Yes, C. Explanation. Past continuous describes an action in progress. Was cuddling is the ongoing action interrupted by Boris. Fourth question. Which sentence uses past perfect? Peter had trained Boris before the grammar quiz. A. Viera was sipping tea when Peter arrived. A, of course. Yes, correct answer A. Explanation. Past perfect shows an action that happened before another past action. Had trained happened before the quiz. Fourth question. What's the best tense for this story sentence? Peter the picnic before Vera arrived. Had packed. C. Yes, correct answer C. Explanation. Had packed is past perfect. It shows Peter finished packing before Vera arrived. 5 question. Which sentence mixes past simple and past continuous correctly? Peter was streaming. No, Vera, no. Peter was streaming when Vera corrected him. B. No, this is very simple. B, of course. Yes, B. Explanation. Past continuous was streaming sets the scene, and past simple corrected shows the interruption. How many did you get right, Peter? I knew everything. Yes, I knew everything. Oh, I've been streaming for 40 minutes. Peter, you absolutely crush it. Viera's velvet shovel in flattering with pride. Catcast. This. Okay, I cannot tell you the name of my English teacher. Of course not. But I think that's it. I think. I've showed you how to learn with Microsoft Copilot in the fun way, how to practice reading aloud. I will read you aloud the story inspired by my novel Viera the Vampire Girl Diary. It's created by Microsoft Copilot, and I introduce yourself, and I introduce I introduce yourself to you. I think that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Follow me everywhere. And don't forget watch my novel Viera the Vampire Girl Diary on YouTube. Listen to it on every good and bad podcast apps, and read my novel on where is this? You can find everything in my link tree. Thank you for following. Thank you for listening, and I want to tell you bye bye.